back to my channel. So this is going to be my face palette collection and declutter. So pretty much like blush palettes, highlighter palettes, all of those, anything that's not an eyeshadow palette. I, for the most part, have most of my larger palettes here, and then I have one more drawer where I have some smaller blush palettes. So let's go ahead and get started. This one right here is the Blush and Bronzer Mini Palette from Coastal Scents. And I got this in like a boxy charm or something. I like this, but I never reach for it. So I may actually end up just decluttering this if I don't, I'm going to give it a little bit longer because I've only had this for about a month or two. They're nice colors, but I don't know. I don't reach for it. It kind of gets lost in my collection because I'm not particularly wowed with the colors in here. So then I have this Sephora Blush 101 face palette. I got this on sale from the Sephora website, and it has like three blushes. I mean, technically this is like a bronzer shade, and then like a highlighting shade, and I do enjoy this palette for the most part. It's not extremely pigmented, but I do enjoy it. It's not extremely pigmented, so these blushes, you know, they are a little bit stiffer, so you do kind of have to like build these blushes up, but they're nice. They're nice for what I paid for them. I want to say, I don't know. I got this at like heavily discounted. So I believe it's still on the Sephora website if you were interested in it. I just don't like how big and bulky it is. So I don't know. This is another one that I may declutter along with that Coastal Scents one. Then I have my NARS Stephen Klein palette. There you go. I like getting blush palettes because you do get a couple more blush colors. And they're NARS blushes, so they're very pigmented. Sorry if I'm running out of space. They're very pigmented. They apply really nicely. I love the formulation of NARS blushes, but I think they're way too expensive in the single pan. So that's why I like purchasing these NARS palettes. I have another one of them that you guys will see a little bit later. And then of course you guys have probably seen this everywhere on YouTube. This is the Becca Jaclyn Hill collaboration, the second collaboration she did, and this is the palette. And I'm kind of glad that I waited to get this palette because I've been wanting Champagne Pop for a while now, and I don't know, I just didn't want to pay for it in the single pan. So I'm kind of glad that I waited because, like I said, I really do enjoy getting these face palettes because one, you get more bang for your buck, and two, they're nice to travel with. That's the main reason why I waited to get this palette. I don't know if it's still available. It might still be available. The next palette that I have is the Cheekathon palette, and this is from Benefit. And I thought this was a great deal. You get 5 full-size blushes in here, and the little brush came in here, and I love that brush for contouring. And I love the formula of these blushes. I really do like Benefit blushes. They smell really good. Sorry, it's a little patchy. It's still a little wet from the wipe. But they swatch really nicely, and they apply really nicely, and they wear for a long time on. The cheeks. Now, I have very like oily cheeks, so like my skin tends to eat blush, and it doesn't with this. I really do like this palette. If it's still available, definitely pick it up. It's a great value. Then I have a few Z palettes. So, the first Z palette that I have are all of my Depotted Tarte palettes. And I still keep all of, actually they're back here. I still keep all of my Tarte, like the empty compacts. So this is like the empty compact. So I do keep these in case I want to travel with like a single shadow. And I normally prefer single compact blushes to like palettes. But I just decided to go ahead and depot these because I wanted to make a little bit more room in my collection. And I'm not really going to swatch these because Tarte blushes don't really swatch all that well. But it's super easy to kind of, you know, depot these and, you know, place them in a Z palette. I wrote the name of it because it doesn't have the name on the back of the pan, so I had to write it in there. But I mean, I really do like Z palettes. Z palettes are amazing. I like Tarte blushes because you just can very easily depot them. And then this next Z palette that I have is actually, there was another Tarte holiday palette, and I depotted it. It was like in one of those like tin ones. So this is from the Naked on the Run palette, and I don't know if I'm going to keep these because I already have the Cheekathon palette. The only thing I don't have in the Cheekathon palette is the Sugar Bomb and this one. I can't remember. This is like I can't remember what the name of this is. It's a nice blush. It's a nice like everyday like pinky color. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's a nice everyday pinky color, but I don't reach for this one as much because I have all of these blushes in the Cheekathon palette. And this is starting to kind of crumble and fall apart. This is a very pigmented blush. If you guys can see that, it's extremely pigmented. But I don't really reach for this Z palette. So I may give this to like my niece, so she can kind of play around with makeup. Because there really is no point in me keeping this if, you know, I already have all of these in another palette. So I may give this to my niece, but I have to kind of put this aside and see, because I'm definitely going to keep that, and I may keep Sugar Bomb. So I'm probably going to declutter everything on this side, but I'm putting it back for now, but with the intention of getting rid of those other blushes. So this is another one of my blush drawers, but we're really only going to focus on these little palettes right here. These are all of my blush palettes. I'm going to go through my single shadow, my single blushes in a separate video. So I guess you're getting a sneak peek at part of my blush collection. So let's go ahead and start with these. So I have a Z palette, a smaller Z palette, and I depotted a compact from Tarina Tarantino, and I didn't like the compact. It was just the closure kept getting stuck and I was having trouble opening it. So I really like these little palettes. I think these are adorable, and it was kind of perfect to fit all the 4 blushes from that palette. So then I have the Lorac Cheek palette. And this pretty much has, you know, 4 blushes in it. I bought this recently. It was on sale on the Ulta website, so it's brand new. I haven't even touched it. So let me go ahead and do some swatches for you. I love Lorac products. They're very nice and pigmented. So those are the 4 blushes right there. They're very, very nice and pigmented, very smooth. I like this one. I don't know if you guys can see, it has like kind of like a shimmer to it. So that's a really nice blush. Maybe get away with using that as a blush topper. So then I have these 2 palettes from e.l.f. and these are they're blush palettes, and I really like these because you can kind of customize this. So I have like the light and the dark one, and you can pop these squares out and kind of customize them to your liking. And I really, really like these. The pigmentation is really nice on these little palettes. I think they're worth the money. They're only, I want to say they're under $10, so maybe like $5 or $6. They're just really great palettes, and they're great to travel with. Then I have an Inglot palette, and I purchased this off of the Macy's website. I'm not super fond of the packaging. This magnet is really, really strong. So these I customized this palette myself. So I picked out these 4 blushes, and they slide right in here. So I picked kind of like a peachy color, like a darker peachy color that has like a little bit of shimmer in it, a very nude one, and then a mauve one. So these are the 4 colors that I picked. I like the pigmentation on these. They're really, really nice, but I'm not too fond of the packaging. I had never played around with the Inglot magnetic closure. It is a very, very strong magnet, but I'm always afraid that it's gonna like you know, my skin or something is gonna get stuck in here, and it's gonna kind of like bite my skin. I don't know if that's the right way of saying it, but I'm always so afraid of messing around with that. So the next palette I have in here is the NARS Guy Bourdin. I don't know how you say that name. This palette, this is the first NARS palette that I picked up. I believe I had it on my palette tag. Hopefully my camera will actually focus. There we go. And I really like the colors in here. I've used this several times. I actually picked this up from Poshmark. This was I bought this off of Coffee Break with Danny, because when I first started using Poshmark, I only picked up from people that I knew, like were actual people, and wouldn't sell me fake makeup, because even on Poshmark people still sell fake makeup on there. So the next palette I have is from Tarte. It's the Tartist or Tartiest. I don't know how you pronounce it. This was a palette that I guess released over the spring or summertime this year. It was not a holiday palette. It released later. These are the 4 shades. They're really, it's a nice variety. I love traveling with this palette. This really is like kind of my go-to travel palette. If you guys saw my makeup, my travel bag, my travel makeup bag, you'll see that I like to travel with this. It's small, it's compact, it has like kind of like the perfect amount of blushes and the perfect blush color combination. These are pretty much like my go-to travel palettes. Any of these palettes are my go-to travel palettes, except for the Inglot one. I really don't care for the Inglot one all that much. And the last one I have in here is from the Stila. It's the Stila Get Cheeky palette. It was from like their holiday collection, and this is like a face palette. This has a bronzer, a blush, and a highlighter, and these are so nice. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see that, but the highlighter in here is really nice, the blush in here is really nice, and the bronzer in here is really nice. So if anything, I would say, you know, this is a really nice travel palette. I haven't traveled with this yet. I actually don't know why I haven't thought about traveling with this one yet. But this is kind of like, if I'm in a rush and I really just don't feel like picking out a highlighter or going for a bronzer or anything like that, I mean, I'll just grab this. I have used this several times, and I really do like the formulation. And I know that it's going to stay on. Like this doesn't just kind of, you know, get washed away. This is a really nice formulation. So I really am just going to get rid of these 2 right here. I'm probably going to give them to my my niece. I think she's really going to enjoy playing with these. They're not bad. I just don't reach for them. I have other palettes that I enjoy so much better. And then I'm also going to get rid of some of those blushes from my Z palette, but I have to kind of go through and pick out the ones that I want and leave the ones that, you know, I'm going to continue to use. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you do. And I'm planning on doing my entire blush collection soon, so just stay tuned for that. And then if you guys are wondering, I have the color Glitter Goblin from China Glaze on my nails. Again, I always link or list what I'm using or what I'm wearing on my nails, or, you know, if you guys can see my face, any of the makeup I'm wearing on my face, down below in the description box. Again, please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy my collection and decluttering, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!